Welcome back to Watch Mojo. I'm sorry, welcome back to Rated Radio. This is Ray Zander.
I'm Shane Wyndham.
This is Eminem versus Lil Wayne.
Hope you're ready for a fight.
Roll the intro. It's gonna haunt me.
What's that?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. I just saw that TikTok of Spider-Man, Tom Holland. He's like, oh man, you sound like the lady from Watch Mojo. And she's like, I am the lady from Watch Mojo. He's like, oh, I love Watch Mojo. Can you say the thing? And she's like, welcome to Watch Mojo. And he's like, ah! So I don't know why, but yeah, I kind of sound like her.
Take it as a compliment.
I mean, she does very well with that. So if I can capitalize on that a little bit, share the wealth, girl.
For sure.
All right. So the first album that we're going to cover is The Carter by Lil Wayne from 2004. I give it 14 7 or above ratings out of 21.
Damn.
I don't fuck around, man.
I only gave it 8 out of the 21. I thought 8 of them were great.
Okay.
Nothing.
8 are great.
Nothing against Wayne.
My bottom track was On the Block, which was a skit.
Yeah, On the Block #1 for sure.
And my top track was Inside.
The Heat.
And how does the music make you feel, Shane?
Like I jumped into some Wizards and Warriors with an Uzi and a Freaker 3 to keep me company.
All right, you just said a lot of words. I don't know if I understand that, so let me go back to some of my comfort words. The music makes me feel like I'm driving around in an old Impala with no AC on a hot summer day.
All right.
A lot of my music, how the music makes you feel, there's always some sort of weather
That's okay.
involved. So
weather will evoke emotions, that's for sure.
You can feel it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. It's there.
That's what she said.
Sorry about your life, Shane.
I'm kidding. Come on.
All right, so what did you think about the album?
Look, I've been a fan of Lil Wayne since I first heard the chorus of The Block is Hot hit somewhere in the way, way back. Still, I'd be lying if I said I've been consistent on the full listens of his albums. What I'm saying is that most of this was new to me, and this thing starts out looking like smoke with no serious fire. Then you're thinking it's a tinder blaze, and before you're able to process it, you're seeing that most of this is an oil fire, one you're covered in, that's doing the opposite of harming you. It's easy to think with most artists that some of the older work may be less lyrically brutal, but that's just not the case with Wayne. This is no exception. Listening to him mix random shit talking alongside his occasionally next level witticisms is entertaining to the point that you may not even care about some of the absent choruses. Hell, sometimes I think he just thought, why the fuck do I even need a chorus? The instrumentals are quite different than most of which you're apt to encounter elsewhere as well. You get a blend of quirky R&B vibes, old school gothic video game soundtrack stuff, drums furious enough to match Wayne's verbal assault, and some absolutely killer bass lines. There aren't really bridges here, and the music usually doesn't change much at the chorus sections. Basically, a lot of par for the rap genre course, but I rarely got bored with the instrumentals. They're wonderfully produced, have great layering, and go the extra mile in their setups more often than not. Lyrically, it certainly leans more toward G-rap than it does toward mainstream relatability. It suffers from a handful of goofy hooks, and feels a bit more like 3 6 Mafia bangers with some Jay-Z mixing than it does like Bone Thugs classics with, say, Kanye's sampling genius, for better or worse. In any case, I liked this album quite a bit more than anticipated. Guess I always just assumed something else would have jumped out at me by now if I was missing out, but there are definitely hidden gems here. The disc is uneven and has material I'd have recommended cutting or strengthening, but it's a solid spin if you come to rap for clever verses or unique beats. I'm not convinced it tops certain other outings of his which came later. You should still give it at least one listen though, just to know what you may have been missing out on. Odds are you're walking away with something obsession worthy.
Nice. Very nice.
Nice. I'm falling asleep over here.
No, I'm not falling asleep. But I was going to say, this works because we both can't be this way. We're both not this way. And I give you shit for running long and you give me shit for being short, but that is exactly why this works.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is in writing, this is how we are. We are the exact opposite of how we are when we're just shooting shit.
Yeah.
Because you run long conversationally and I'm pretty to the point.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, it needed said. What can I say?
No, I'm glad you do that because you see it.
Go easy.
Shut up. Because you see it at a perspective that I don't, and I'm glad that you see the eyes through a musician's perspective. You can recognize the complexities, whereas I come from a listener perspective that has no musical teachings.
Speaking of the listeners, let's not jack each other off here too much. Tell us what you thought about the album.
I'm paying a compliment. Jesus Christ. All right, so this younger Wayne gets a boost from some more vetted hip-hop artists, but that does little compared to his natural ability to ebb and flow as an artist. His vocal styles complement the backing track well, and it is the epitome of 2000s Dirty South rap. Top that on everything that what Shane said, 7 out of 10.
I fucks with it.
All right, as long as you fucks with it. What do you say we take a break? All right, since we're here to relax a little bit, Shane, why don't we talk about a Billboard top song? What was it?
Golden Hour by Javuki.
You mean Jake?
Is it Jake?
It's Jake.
I don't know what it is.
It's
JVKE.
It's the V's meant to be like an upside down A. He was trying to be creative, but it's pronounced Jake.
I always thought it was like Juke or something.
Now you know.
Jake.
The more you know.
The more you know. It's not the Travion with a 3 in it, you know.
The Travion with a 3.
You haven't seen that skit yet?
No.
It's some TikTok video where they're riffing on
on the names.
Aaron thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Key and Peele.
And he's like DA3V. Man, it's the Travion.
Oh, I can't get into that. I have personal experience with that. No, I'm just going to move on from that. So what did you think of Golden Hour, Shane?
I was blindsided by this one. I know I've heard parts of it, instrumental renditions, etc., but I'd never heard the real deal in full, and it was glorious. It vibes like a classically rich Jason Mraz would, gives plenty of piano, nature, and orchestral dreaminess, and doesn't allow for stale, repetitive lyricism. Doesn't hurt that I suspect most people's oldest relatives would probably enjoy the hell out of this song too, however rap-like though it can be in the verses. The only thing I could fault it for was opting for a sweeping and grandiose rehash of the underlying melodies, where I'd have preferred a strong bridge, but I retain a heavy deal of adoration for how well done, mellow, and thoughtful this song is from start to finish. 9 out of 10 stars from me.
Ray stands out there will recognize this song because this is not the first time that I have discussed this song on the podcast. Jake's Golden Hour still remains sweet, bright, and glittery magic. My one sadness is that we haven't heard from this new and talented artist in quite some time. Here's to hoping to a full album's on its way. 8 out of 10. You described it perfectly.
Yeah. She called me perfect.
I said you described it perfectly.
She called me perfect. I need those compliments real bad.
All right. You're perfect, Shane. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. You look like Linda Evangelista.
Don't know who that is, but I'm happy about it.
Good. You should be. Let's get back to the music. All right. Welcome back.
Are you scared? I'm always scared when it's... And don't get me wrong, I'm not actually fucking scared.
I see you shaking in your little
right? I'm not. But this is a big deal.
Because we're finally covering Eminem.
It's like talking about Pink Floyd. Yeah.
Yeah,
and Zeppelin.
My only complaint is that it wouldn't have been randomized, but here we are.
Uh-oh.
All right. So, am I driving this disco big rig?
It's you.
It's not a disco big rig. It's a Slim Shady big rig.
It's a disco short bus.
It's a disco short bus.
They're short episodes now.
I don't like that I'm leading I'm driving the short bus, okay? Anyway, so...
At least you're driving it, right?
That's true. At least I'm not
in the back in the seat.
Anyway, so since we're talking about Eminem, the album that we covered by him is the Encore album from...
2004.
I gave it 6, 7 and above ratings out of 20 tracks.
14 from the sky.
My bottom track, let's say it together, Shane.
Puke. God, you're such a baby.
Gross, Shane. Noises. Gross.
It's meant to be.
I know. So my rating is justified.
It's meant to be.
It's my bottom track.
You're a big weenie.
Fine.
And I'm a big meanie.
Weenie and Meanie. That's what we should have named the show.
Mine was the Final Thought skit.
My top track was Like Toy Soldiers.
Which is really interesting because you usually hate most things with samples, covers, that sort of stuff.
It holds a level of nostalgia because it reminds me of my brother.
My top track was Spend Some Time.
The music makes me feel like I'm in an underground club with a ceiling leak.
Makes me feel like I'm partying at an insane asylum.
Same place. Awesome.
Same deal.
I'm sorry. Did Marshall strike a nerve? Here, Eminem has the maturity and accountability to let all the dirty laundry air out. His intelligent and creative way to read a bitch and himself to filth always has been an envy of mine. Also, when you toss a level of silliness on top, I'm all here for it. 6.5 out of 10.
Again, I will point out, while we're talking about rap albums, they usually have skits. Skits get lower ratings, and the lower ratings tend to drag an average. So you hear a lower average on... It's kind of like horror films. I rate horror films sometimes lower than I would rate comedies or dramas or whatnot.
Why? You think it's a cheap genre?
No, I'm much more easily entertained by the pieces, right? I expect some of the parts to be shitty. It's like skits, in large part, and rap albums, they just don't...
Only so much you can do without making it real.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. There's some lines you can't cross there. It can't be too real.
Right. When I was younger and we were doing the comedy stuff, right? Or CMB, Crude Mama's Boys. I thought skits were hilarious. I wanted to do skits all over the place. I no longer feel that way. I kind of just wish skits would go away, but they do tend to drive part of what's happening on this album. I wouldn't have made it so long. I would have left out some skits. I got you.
I mean, we've been here before. What do you think?
What struck me most when revisiting some older Eminem, now that I'm critiquing the ever-loving shit out of song structures, is just how little changes in his tracks from verse to chorus. We're talking mild variations most of the time. Want a bridge here and there? Too bad, you're getting a third verse and you're going to love it, goddammit. And while the production is very solid, there's not usually much complexity in the instrumentals. Just head bobbers from Dre, some approximation of the same from Eminem, and samples on occasion to do some heavy lifting which keep monotony from making the album's vibe feel too samey. It's pretty dark overall as well, and occasionally too personal for direct relatability to listeners' lives. The skits are hit or miss. Lastly, it takes some time to reach full lyrical steam and loses a bit of that steam in the end. In spite of all that, though, it's hard to not call this disc a fairly significant winner. It's iterating on the Eminem Show's formula while hinting at the bleakness of what we'd soon get with Relapse. So it feels more like a continuation than it does a revelation. But Marshall proves more than interesting enough to hear out in nearly all places time and time again. This makes some of the negatives mean jack shit in the end. There simply aren't other albums out there with tracks like My First Single, Rain Man, Big Weenie, etc. At least not ones where the lyricist keeps you so engaged. I was also surprised to find that the funny bits here still strike me as funny after 20 years in my brain. The wordplay is clever, the cadence can be infectiously unruly, the emotions feel honest, and the guy behind the mic is someone you're happy to know so intimately, trainwreck though he may come across as. Additionally, the anti-Republican track lands a lot heavier now that we're facing another 4 insufferable years of the orange con man as president. I may not think this is M's strongest or most consistent work, but if you don't mind music which kicks like a black comedy, then of course you should give this a listen. It's apt to help us all take ourselves a little less serious where it counts.
I love that you ended on that note. Gotta love a dude with a sense of humor that can make fun of himself. That was... When he started coming around, that was my biggest indicator of this dude's cool because he is not afraid to hold himself accountable and poke fun at himself, which is what more people need to do nowadays.
Please like or subscribe if you're still listening. And remember, you can send us all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com, including voice messages so you can get on the show. We're happy to play your crazy ass as well.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, although I don't think I need to, who took it for you this week?
It does pain me a bit to say it was Eminem.
It pains you? Well, it pains me a little bit to say the opposite. The Carter actually took it from me by 0.5. I don't know why I felt the need to do a 0.5. I didn't measure out my ratings. I did it by, how all the numbers were breaking down and where I thought it would be good. There's no math to it. I just felt that overall the rating, this number sat comfortably with me. That's how my rating is happening. And for some reason, I just didn't want to give Eminem's Encore anything above a 6.5.
I'm uncomfortable putting either of these rappers ahead of one another in the race.
Mm-hmm.
I think of them as equals, you know, friends that are running the track for fun, and they're way the fuck ahead of a lot of people.
Like Kobe and NJ.
Yeah, they're just enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they're brothers. They're brothers in the genre. They recognize the struggle that both of them, and they feel evenly matched.
Yeah.
Like they've met someone to play with. They've met their Lex Luthor, their Superman. Like this is, and it's all in good fun. They're friends though, but it's a constant back and forth.
These aren't video gamers
talents.
who are playing Minecraft or, you know, even certain Mario games. These are video gamers who are playing the most hardcore fucking games that exist, like Bloodborne and the Souls games, and they're just killing it.
Yep.
They are absolutely killing it. But yeah, Eminem for me.
All right. Well, let's end it on that note. That's going to do it for now.
Until next time, fill your world with music.